right, let's talk about something that feels, well, both ancient and almost completely impossible today, and that's solitude. But I don't mean an escape, a vacation to some tropical island. I'm talking about something vital, something essential that we've kind of lost track of. So let's explore this ancient path together and just see where it takes us.
The spiritual writer Henri Nouwen gives us this incredible way of thinking about it right from the get-go. We tend to think of solitude as a break, right? A therapeutic retreat, a day spa for the soul. But Nouwen says, nope, that's not really it. It's the place of encounter, which of course begs the question, an encounter with what? Or who?
And right there, that's the problem, isn't it? We're being invited into this profound place of encounter, but we are absolutely starving for the silence we need just to get there. It's like we're living through a global famine of quiet.
So let's just dig into that for a second. What does this famine of quiet actually look and feel like in our day-to-day lives? What's stealing our silence? I mean, when you see it laid out like this, it's kind of overwhelming. The assault is coming from all sides. You've got the constant pings from our digital lives, the alerts, the endless feeds. Then there's the emotional noise, right? The political outreach machine. And on top of all that, you have the literal physical noise of traffic, construction, the constant hum of modern life. It never, ever stops.
So what's the real cost of all this noise? Well, Mother Teresa puts it so starkly. She says God is the friend of silence. And if that's true, and our world is basically at war with silence, well, we've got a serious problem on our hands. We're getting cut off from one of the main ways we connect with the divine.
But here's the crazy thing. When we do manage to find a moment of quiet, it's not always this peaceful, blissful experience. Not at all. Because when you turn off the noise outside, you finally have to face the noise inside. It can feel like, and I love this phrase, harrowing emotional surgery. We meet the unfiltered versions of ourselves. And honestly, that can be really uncomfortable.
Okay, so if it's so hard, why on earth would we do it? Well, to answer that, let's look at the ultimate model for this whole journey. Let's turn to Jesus in the desert and see how this isn't an escape, but a powerful, intentional path of encounter.
This right here, this absolutely nails the core idea. The popular myth is that solitude is a break, an escape hatch from reality. But the truth, the one Jesus shows us, is that it's an engagement with what's most real. It's not a day spa, it's a place of conversion where you're fundamentally changed.
And just listen to the specific language here from the Gospel of Matthew. It says Jesus was led by the Spirit. He didn't just wander off for a relaxing hike to clear his head. No, this was a deliberate, guided, and totally necessary confrontation. It's a model for us, showing that our own journey into quiet has to be just as intentional. So the first temptation is all about the flesh, right? He's been fasting for 40 days. Of course he's hungry. The tempter offers this easy shortcut to satisfy a totally legitimate physical need. But Jesus' answer just completely shifts the focus from what our bodies want right now to what our souls need for eternity. The second temptation, this one's a test of pride. It's an invitation to put on a show, to create a spectacle, and force God's hand to prove who he is. It's that desire for validation through some big, dramatic gesture. But Jesus chooses humility over spectacle. And then comes the final temptation, the big one, power, the ultimate shortcut. You could have all the kingdoms of the world right now without any of the suffering of the cross. But Jesus just shuts it down, affirming where his true allegiance lies. It's in this quiet, lonely place, by facing down these temptations of the flesh, pride, and power, that his mission becomes crystal clear. So here's the crucial point. That journey into the wilderness wasn't for nothing. It produced something incredibly powerful. And for us, our own journey into solitude has a similar three-part payoff. It leads to three profound encounters. This basically gives us a roadmap for the whole journey. See, the path of solitude leads us first inward, to meet our true unfiltered self. Then it leads us into a struggle, a fight where we encounter resistance. And it's only by moving through that resistance that we can finally encounter God in a totally new and much deeper way.
This first encounter, well, it's often the most jarring. Because without all our usual distractions, the emotions we've been running from our whole lives, they finally catch up. All the pain, the sadness, the anger, the shame, it all just comes bubbling to the surface. And as tough as that is, it's the only way to actually heal.
And then you realize the struggle isn't just internal. Ancient Christian wisdom talks about these three enemies: the world, with its constant pressure to conform, the flesh, which is our own disordered desires, and the devil,
are presenting direct spiritual opposition. So solitude becomes this training ground, a spiritual gym where we learn to fight for our own freedom. So how in the world do we find our way through all this? Well, there's this incredible ancient tool called Lectio Divina, or spiritual reading. Now, this isn't about studying or downloading information. It's about slowing way, way down and just listening for God's voice, the one voice that can ground us and guide us through these tough encounters. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. A 40-day fast, spiritual warfare in the desert, it all sounds pretty intense. But here's the good news. You don't have to start there. The invitation to quiet can begin in a really simple, totally accessible way.
And this is literally all it takes to begin. It's about subtraction, not addition. First, find just 5 minutes and a quiet spot. And please, this is crucial, leave your phone in another room. Then, just breathe. That's it. Welcome God with each inhale. Now, your mind is gonna wander. It just will. Don't get mad at it. Just gently bring it back. For a few moments, just rest. Don't try to make anything happen. And finally, close with a simple thank you. That's it. That is the first step on this ancient, life-changing path.
So we end with this. The invitation isn't to some punishing, lonely isolation. It's to a profound encounter. It's a path toward freedom and a deeper connection with who you really are and with God. And it leaves every single one of us with a question that only we can answer. In a world that never ever stops talking, what might you hear if you finally chose to listen?